Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever this may be finding you today. This is Becky Brown. I'm sitting in for Steve Arterburn, and I am joined by some wise women in California, Dr. Alice Benton and Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Becky.
Hi.
Hi, Alice.
What fun to be with you girls.
I know. We're having a
know.
girls' party today.
That's it. And we're going to give so much great wisdom to so many people. They've just, if you haven't heard wisdom in a long time, today's your day to tune in. So we're glad you're here with us. And, one of the things that's on the minds of everyone right now is this whole COVID crisis, the pandemic, and just the challenges that it's created. And I don't know about you guys, what you're hearing in your private practices, but just a few things that I've been hearing, even just in some studies. One thing in particular is that the anxiety that's being created because we've kind of lost our sense of time. Our rhythms have been disrupted. We used to go to church on Sunday. You had, board meetings or bowling on Thursday, those kind of things where we just come and go or go to an office. And with the onset of the school year coming there is so many unknowns across the country. No one really knows, what every day is going to bring. So what kind of wisdom have you guys been sharing with those folks that you've been working with, or even just in general that you've been thinking about, that we can encourage our listeners today that, maybe calm down some of that anxiety, or, maybe some things that we can focus on? Any ideas?
I'm hearing so much parental fatigue, especially for parents with children with special needs that rely on the help of outside programs, and in the parents getting a break from the kids and vice versa, and having to be in close quarters for so long without a break. We're really looking at how parents can team up to give one another a break, to make sure that they're taking a rest, taking a nap, getting outside for a walk, any small thing, and especially being able to unload their frustration and anger, whether it's with God, with the system, with the government, with one another, with themselves and their children. Getting
so
to
much frustration.
Absolutely. Getting to unload that with safe people in their small groups, to let the pressure off. We all need to do that.
Talking and connecting. Right? Two really important things. And I know we're all growing weary of Zoom as well, and yet it has provided a good outlet to stay in contact with people. And especially, you're talking about parents. I know through this last school year, I met weekly with a group of parents online, on Zoom, to just talk about those struggles and how do you motivate. And, my kids are older, and the older kids are really losing motivation. Because what are they going out into the world to do, right? And a lot of their schedules have been thwarted. Routine has been something that's been brought up, and Becky, you mentioned time, and I'm already time challenged, and so that has been those kind of aimlessly meandering days. While it might be fun at first, we need to have anchors in our days that draw us back into the present, so we're staying connected to time in real time.
Yeah.
Right.
Today in devotions, our staff devotions, I shared about how we need to plug into the power when our batteries get low or we get depleted. And of course, for us believers, it's that power of the Holy Spirit. Acts 1:8, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you. So I'm hoping that you're going to plug in somewhere today. Maybe you got to plug in and you call us. You plug in your phone and give us a call at 1-800-229-3000, and we'll answer your questions. And we appreciate all our Facebook Live family. I usually watch on Facebook Live, so hey, Facebook Livers. And you can check that out as well. We also follow up with our YouTube channel with that information. So we are here for you. We're thankful for the ways that you have been partnering with us. We met our match, so we're so grateful for those who have given.
Divorce shattered my family. I was very confused about my feelings, which are guilt, shame, and anger.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. I'm just wondering if you're feeling stuck and you're hiding behind a mask, or maybe you're ignoring some pain and you're just not wanting anybody to see the real you. Well, Chris Williams and I are going to be doing the Finding Freedom Workshop. It's a great place to discover how to live a life of freedom, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll learn how to overcome your painful past and recognize the habits and behaviors that can lead you to the life God intended. It's time to get free from the rut you're in and experience transformation in your life.
Join Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams for the New Life Finding Freedom online workshop Saturday, August 8th. To register or to learn more about Finding Freedom, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Hello, welcome back. We are so excited. This is Becky Brown, and I'm joined with Jill Hubbard and Alice Benton in California. We are answering your calls today. You get some wise wisdom from some great women, so we're so excited to have you. We are going to go right away to the calls, and we're going to talk to Sherry in Knoxville. She listens on the internet, and you can too at newlife.com, or we also have an app that you can listen to. Terry, you're probably, I don't know if I'm live with Sherry. Hey, Sherry, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're
Can you hear
here. Yes, we sure can. How can we help you today?
Is this okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, good. Well, my husband drinks a lot. He's not himself afterwards. It's 4 or 5 nights a week. And like, it's just getting more and more. It's taking more and more, you know, and up to like 10 or 11 beers at once. And he has at some point in the past, he had changed a financial account when I had confronted him on some things. He had been gambling. He had been somewhat, I mean, in spending, and I confronted him on the spending, and he got really mad and switched some accounts around. That has gotten better. That was several years ago, but it affects my trust now still.
Sure.
And I love him. I want to. I really over this, but I have things I can do for myself. I told him I'm going to Al-Anon. I've been going for the last couple of years, and I am going to counseling. I haven't told him that yet. And here's the thing, though, that's brought this. And I was planning on talking to him soon. I was getting ready. I'm getting ready, and to do what I need to do, you know. But now he wants me to quit my job. I work in an elementary school. Because of COVID, he wants me to quit my job. And yeah, that seems really scary to me at this point right now. I do work with K through 5th graders. We still haven't gotten our plan. I'm an hourly person. It's not a huge salary, but it's enough that it covers my benefits. You know, it gives me some benefits, gives me some health care. I want to know, I guess my question is, which I know you want to know my question, what would you recommend for me now? Should I tell him I'm going to counseling? Should I quit my job? I'm scared to get COVID. I have hypertension. He has hypertension. It's scary.
That's understandable, Sherry. That's so hard. Jill or Alice, you want to start?
Well, Sherry, I hear your heart. This is...
I know this is a complicated thing.
Well, there's just layers to it, right? So your fear, I'm glad you kind of said, so your fear is of getting COVID versus quitting your job and being completely dependent on your husband.
They both are a fear, actually.
They both are a fear, aren't they? And I'm glad you're reaching out, because when we're scared, we don't always make the best decisions, right? We make a decision in the moment without weighing it out. And so I think it's important. It's like, if you set your fear aside, you know, what would be the variables that would help you make a decision, right? Like if you could set your fear aside. And I know it's hard to separate that out. But sometimes that helps us to take a step back. And you're in Al-Anon, so you're learning about healthy detachment, right? And that's about taking a step back so that you can see the bigger picture, right? And can evaluate things and see, because there are no guarantees in life. And there are a myriad of things that could happen to all of us, right? And if we had all of that at the forefront at every moment, we wouldn't get in our cars. We would be scared to death. We would be hiding in a closet, right? But fortunately, the way our brains work, we can push things to the back of our minds and not dwell on all of the things that could go wrong at every moment. Now with COVID, this is new and it's in our faces every day. And so this is the newest fear. And there is some reasons to be afraid, right? But I think we have to put it in perspective, because if we make all of our decisions based on not getting COVID, how does that then affect the rest of our life? And that's what we're finding is problematic right now. Right. People are getting depressed. People are committing suicide. People are so anxious they can't function, right? Pharmaceutical use is going up. Drug use is going up. There's all this collateral damage. And so I think you have to weigh that out in your decision. And then your husband, you were getting ready to, I don't mean to, your husband, you were getting ready to talk with him. What were you going to share with him?
Just the situation with, I'm thinking about telling him I'm going to counseling and that the drinking is, it's an issue and that we have a major problem, and that's the problem. And I can't keep on living the way I'm living. So it affects me.
So you haven't told him this before?
I have, and I have told him I was going to Al-Anon, and I did tell him I think he has a problem, but he says he's fine. He doesn't have a problem.
Well, he doesn't have a problem, but it doesn't work for you.
Right.
You have a problem. The impact of his drinking is a problem for you.
Yeah.
So regardless of how he sees the situation, it's a problem for you because you feel disconnected from him. You can't trust him. You don't feel like you have your husband.
Right.
So don't try to convince him that he has a problem. Right. Talk about the problem for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that's a great phrase, Jill. It's such a great way to put that, because when you're in a conversation with somebody who obviously has the problem and their answer is, no, I don't, where do you go with that? So I love what you said.
Well, yeah, and sorry, one more thing. Well, because, when he drinks, first of all, he probably has a really high tolerance that he can drink that much, or he's a really big guy. And then when he drinks, all of his problems go away. So in his mind, he has no problem, right? Right. That's the purpose of it. Sorry.
So Sherry, I would add 2 cautions to what Jill has said. To not let your fear be your decision maker. To be not make a hasty decision just because your husband has asked you to do this. In your own fear of,
and it's taking a year off. It's not forever. It's taking a year off to see where this COVID goes.
I understand that what he asks of you, the request itself may not be one that you can trust, because he's not in his right mind. He's not making healthy decisions for himself. And so you can't necessarily trust a request from him. So I would ask you to take his request to your therapist and go through all the pros and cons with your therapist and figure out with that therapist if it's a wise decision for your family and what your plan B and plan C need to be. You need to have a couple of different alternatives. This is not the only choice to make. Do I take the year off or not? There are a variety of choices, including talking with the school officials about your concerns and what accommodations can be made to keep you safe.
I have researched a lot, actually. Yeah, I've made a lot. I've spent the last 2 weeks researching and talking, and
yeah, because it makes a lot of sense to protect the teacher, right? I mean, even though we know kids don't get it as much as older people, to protect the teacher, the one that is vulnerable, right? And, I'm even picturing teachers in a glass box, or a plexiglass box, something, that would protect them.
And I'm sorry to say, you really have to make a wise financial decision to protect yourself from whatever your husband's motivations might be. It might just be to protect your health, but he's making foolish decisions in general in his life.
True,
it scares me that he's changed the accounts, and I certainly hope you have access to them.
There are a lot of good things. It's that's what we say, but there are many good things.
So Sherry, you've got some great suggestions from both Alice and Jill, but also your team with Al-Anon and with your counselor. You've got some really good things in place, and I think a great next step. We'll send you a Life Recovery Bible, and that'll be part of that. And anybody who's listening who's in a similar situation, just know that you can get overwhelmed with all of the things. And if you just continue to do that one next thing, it can make a big difference. But we appreciate your call so much. We're going to talk to Tracy, who is calling us from Nebraska, Kearney, Nebraska, and he listens on the podcast, and you can too. Tracy, thanks so much for calling. How can we help you today?
Hello. I'm so glad to talk to you ladies today.
We're glad to talk to you too.
I especially wanted to call on a day when it was Alice and Jill and Becky, because
perfect.
With my wife, and I thought you might understand it better.
Awesome.
My basic question is, what is the best way to help my wife and support her as she's dealing with some postpartum depression?
Tracy, how do you see the depression in her? What do you see?
The biggest thing I see is irritability with the other kids. She voices that she doesn't feel supportive. She feels lethargic and disheartened, I guess would be a good word. Feels like she's a failure. But I think the biggest thing is the overall mood, the easily triggered anger and sadness that seems to come.
Tracy, how many? Well, I want to ask, how many kids do you have, and how old is the youngest one?
So this is number 6, and we have, I should have written these down, 15, 13, 8, 6, 23 months, and 2 months.
Okay. See, that's a different picture than just postpartum depression, right? I mean, those.
Wow.
You're talking to a couple of moms here. We all know. We know that fatigue.
Everybody says that there's a certain child that finally pushes you over the edge. Mine was number 2, but number 6 may be it for your wife.
Yeah, it just might be.
She struggled a little bit with the previous one as well, and with the previous 2, actually, that I can remember. And so, I'm just trying to get better as a husband of understanding what I can do to help meet her needs better, because that seems to be the issue, is her being able to voice what she needs and me being able to understand from a practical default standpoint of what guys like to do, fix things.
You get Husband of the Day caller award. I mean, Tracy, there are women that are listening right now going, hey, honey, come over here and listen to the show, because this guy is asking all the right questions. He really is. Jill or
that works for
Jill or Alice, what would you do to support Tracy in this quest of supporting his wife?
Tracy, I'll give you a few things to avoid and a few things to do. One, just that damp it puts a real wet rag on a person struggling and feeling like your wife does, is to try to convince her to feel differently. And we just naturally fall into doing this. It's going to be okay. It's all right. You don't need to feel that way. Can't you just see? It's trying to convince her to feel differently versus validating that she has every reason to feel the way she does, that you can understand, you can put yourself in her shoes. Those are the kind of soothing statements that will help her to feel more supported versus trying to cheer her up. Cheering up is probably not what she needs right now. But also asking her what she does need And if it at all possible in this time of shutdown, looking for the people that can come in and be a support if health-wise that's a possibility, because she probably needs more than just you, another adult that can be of help and of service to her.
That's awesome. Jill, do you have anything before we...
I would just say maybe have her evaluated for medication as well. She might need that, but I know it's complicated with nursing and things. So, but check with her doctor about
Thanks
that.
Thanks again, Tracy. We're going to send you 100 Days of Prayer. I think that would be a great comfort for her if she, don't hand it to her though. You might get in trouble for that. We are still taking your calls. So give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. And isn't it funny how all the callers today, COVID has had something to do with the process and it's impacting us. But listen, we can help move forward in spite of all of the challenges. So come back after the break.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
Every Man's Battle, I fought it the whole week with my wife. Within 2 hours, you could have opened a book and showed me where my life has been ever since I was a little boy.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, August 15th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
He said, this may have saved my life.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me and a marriage-saving experience for me.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. We are taking your calls today, 1-800-229-3000. And so if you got a question on your mind, or maybe you have a friend who needs some help, you can give us a call in honor of that friend. You know, we get those calls sometimes, you know, where I know somebody who has this issue and it's really the person who's calling. But, you know, listen, we are an equal listening opportunity right here. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. I also want to reiterate the fact that we met our match, and I just can't say thank you enough for all of those who have given to the match. It just, you know, when you think about the work that New Life gets to do through the radio program, through our workshops, through our counselor network, through so many avenues, we're helping people change their lives. And it's just amazing. So all of you who gave to the match, you can just know that a life has been changed because of your faithfulness, and we just appreciate that and continue to move forward. And, you know, we're just excited about that. Also, if you support us with a gift of any amount, we will send you the new book by Dr. John Townsend and Dr. Henry Cloud, Growth Has No Boundaries. And it's a nice little book, but it's got a lot of meat to it. And so it can be a big gift if you want, or a little gift, but any gift will help us, and we'll send you that book. But now we're going to do what we do all the time, and we're going to go to the calls.
Wait, Becky, can I just say one more comment? about
can say whatever you need
our
to say.
last call. Because
Yes.
I just wanted to highlight something that Alice said that I think is so important when it comes to depression. And that is what you said, Alice, about not convincing them out of their feelings.
Yes.
How important it is to lean in, and it's counterintuitive, but you move towards and you acknowledge the depression. And that's actually when they receive understanding, that helps them to lift their mood. And so that's really important to kind of move towards them. Wow, I see you. Yeah, this is rough. You
Good
do
point.
feel really down. And then just that last piece about we want to maximize all of our resources. So, check with the doctor, the gynecologist first. Check with, ask about a referral to a psychiatrist. Get the help you need so you don't have to suffer.
Great idea, and I think that affects so many people, even with depression, that it's not specifically postpartum. It's really helpful to get that help. We are going to go to Chuck, who's calling us from Traverse City, Michigan. He listens on Sirius XM, and I actually was in Traverse City this past weekend. Chuck, I could have waved at you. It's a beautiful place to go.
Where is that?
It's up at the top. If you're looking at the left hand, it's up, up at the top. Those of us who are from Michigan, we point on the hand where you are locating. So we're glad you're calling today, Chuck. How can we help you? What's your question?
Well, thank you very much for taking my call, and thank you very much for all that you do. I love your program. My wife and my concern is our son-in-law and, of course, our daughter and their marriage. We've been encouraging, and so has my daughter, our son-in-law to seek counseling. The two of them were married or got together and had their first child out of wedlock at age 21 and dropped out of college. They lived with us for a while. They immediately started working. They've done well raising number one, and now then they got married. They now have number two. They've moved up to Traverse City, so they're close to us. He is working. He comes from a very complicated family life with divorce, and there's a lot that goes into his family life, but there's not much in the way of love that comes to him from either his mother or his father, and that's a very difficult thing for him. He's working hard to make this marriage work. I think he wants to prove and show that he can make a family life work for him, but he doesn't have the tools to do it. It's very hard, very frustrating for us to watch this. He's working two jobs now. He's taken a second job on the weekends so that my daughter can stay home and raise the two children, both healthy and otherwise doing fine. We help as much as we can, but we don't want to be there taking over the raising of the children. But I've started spending some more time with him. Now that he's taken a second job, that's made it more difficult. But our concern is we don't want to be overbearing, and I don't want to scare him off. I want the right thing for him and for my daughter and for the kids. Our main concern is to help him to get the tools that he needs to be able to have that loving relationship with our daughter and with his kids. He has anger issues. He doesn't have a drinking problem or a drug problem, but he's not really able to connect in a loving way or receive the love, give the love that I think would fill a lot of empty places inside of him.
And Chuck, how has he responded to the encouragements? Chuck, how has he responded to the encouragements to get help in the past?
Well, now to do counseling, you have to do it online. It's on a computer, and he doesn't really see the need for it. What's it going to do for him?
Well, Chuck, the music has just started. You have we got kind of the good picture. I'm thinking that the question is basically, how do you get him to get help, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll come back after the break and talk about that. But it's great that you guys are supportive and that you have this investment in his life, and we're going to help you with that. We are going to continue taking calls for a while. So those of you who are listening and maybe hearing something that you think, I need to address that as well, you can give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. I know that relationships can be tricky, but there is a way that we can help people find the help that they need and grow through the struggles and the challenges that might be in their life. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking to Chuck, and Chuck, Jill's got some great advice that she's going to start with, whether she knows it or not.
Yeah. Okay. So, Chuck, we were just talking at the break. It's really hard. First of all, you're an awesome father-in-law.
Yes.
And we love that you called and that you actually try to spend time with your son-in-law.
Right.
Because it sounds like because he hasn't had encouraging parents or supportive in any way, it's probably really foreign to him, but great that he will, that he does spend time with you, and keep at that, because that needs to continue. And that's over the long haul, where you kind of kill a person with the love and the kindness, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's really hard to get, convince somebody that they need help when they are resistant. And he's young. He's trying to, provide for his family. It sounds like what he knows how to do is to work and to try to do what he can in that way. And that should be praised. But what I find is when people are resistant to help is that they're scared. Right? They're scared that if they say they need help, then that means they're not okay. And this is a kid that has learned how to survive on not a lot of support, right? And so he's still muscling his way through life, trying to do what he's known to do. And so it's important to frame it in a way that isn't about you have a problem, right? Like, I think one of the awesome ways to come alongside of a young couple, say, we want to do everything we can as parents and in-laws to support your marriage, to support your family. And we know that when there's young kids at home and one's working and one's at home, that's a really high stress time. And it's where, the two partners are kind of in different worlds. You're not walking in the same worlds. And so there can be potential for a lot of disconnect. Maybe the gift of our marriage weekend would be something. It's like we want to support the good that's already there. And in that way, you're not saying you have a problem, but it's an introduction to getting help. it's an introduction to different ways of looking at connection and relating to your partner. And so that's something that I would offer you.
It's a great idea.
Chuck, my hope would be that your daughter would also be empowered to go to her husband to request this, knowing that the family needs it versus he needs it because he's so angry. So she might acknowledge, we're irritating, we agitate you, and I don't always know what to do. I don't know how to best help you and love you when you're angry, when you're upset with us, and we do upsetting things. So maybe we as a family can get this help so that we can all manage this better, because we're all distressed, and I don't know perfectly how to handle mine. Would you come with me so that we can do this better? That's more inviting and it's more palatable.
Yeah, that's such a great idea. Thank you so much, Chuck, for being a great father-in-law. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love that maybe will be a help in all of this situation. Marriage is challenging at every level if we don't address the stuff that keeps driving all of the separation. But there's hope. We're going to go to Bill, who's calling us from WAVA, W-A-V-A. It's a great station on the East Coast. Bill, how can we help you today?
Yes. Thanks for taking my call. My world was shocked and turned upside down this past Sunday. I was sitting in the garage with my neighbor in the afternoon, and he started telling me a story. See, my wife died 4 years ago from metastatic breast cancer.
So
and that's half of it. My first wife died from pancreatic cancer. It hit me twice. But since that time, I have met, I call her my girlfriend. And between my first two wives, we have 5 sons, and they're grown now. But he started to tell me a story, and not a story, but something that happened in a neighborhood, and it involved me. He told me that last winter, 5 of them were in the driveway, 5 neighbors, just talking and having a good time, I guess. And I don't ever join this group, but I'm friends with all of them. Anyway, my girlfriend drove up the street, and one of the women said, well, I guess Bill's going to kill his 8th wife.
Oh, wow.
And Dennis told me that, and I was stunned. And so, I prayed about it. Can I do about it? And I know what I have to do, and that is to forgive them. But my question is, should I confront them in a very passive way? I don't know. That I cannot find an answer for.
And Bill, this is very complicated, and what a painful thing to hear. These neighbors are all your friends. Yeah. I'm so impressed with the steps you're already taking, praying and looking, considering forgiveness. Yeah. I'm amazed that you're able to do that right now. So, question for you: the neighbor that told you the story is not the neighbor that made the comment. Is that right?
That's right. But what bothered me is the way he told it. He laughed like it was a big joke back then. So,
Bill, I think you're right that it will affect the relationship if you don't say anything. And because you're such a prayerful man trying to follow God's way, I don't doubt that you'll be able to do this in a way that gives them both truth, but does it with grace and not the kind of hurt that they caused you. So I think you could make a confession to both of them, probably individually would be best, to let them know, I heard about this when you told me and you laughed. That hurt, and it's actually hard for me to get over it. But I'm praying, and I want to forgive you, but I need to let you know that it affected me. I felt disrespected. I can't believe it. You talked about my wives that way, and actually would really help if you would apologize to me. You may not get what you want from them, but you will be cleansing your conscience and you'll be speaking the truth that needs to be said so it doesn't become bitterness inside of you.
And there's the chance to deepen the relationships, right? You know, when someone, looking at their responses, then you know how trustworthy your friends, your neighbors are, right? I mean, are they grieved by the fact that they've hurt you? Lots of people say things and it's ha-ha funny, you know? They may have meant no harm. But when you really think about it, that's really in poor taste and not fair, because losing one wife, losing two wives, how painful is that? Right? Extremely painful.
Yes.
So I think you do know what you need to do, and Alice said it beautifully. You know, confronting them in love is really just sharing, you know, the hurt that you experienced from them.
I don't want to lose them as neighbors.
Yeah. Well, right. And that's why it's done in love, you know, in a calm way, where you just let them know that you know, give them the benefit of the doubt. They probably don't realize it was maybe a joke to them, but this is your life, and you felt it very deeply.
And Bill, reassuring them, as you just said, I'm telling you this because I don't want to lose our friendship, because I value it. So if I can say this out loud, I know I can let it go.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
That's very true.
Great instruction for Bill, and thank you so much for calling. We're going to send him a copy of Forgiving What You'll Never Forget, just to make sure that doesn't get a seed planted somewhere. We're going to talk to Susie, who's calling us from Des Moines, Iowa. She listens on Sirius XM. Hi, Susie. How can we help you today? Thanks for calling.
Thank you for taking my call. I have a grandson who is diagnosed with nonverbal learning disorder. And my question is, they've had him to several doctors, and they don't want to put him on medication because they feel like there's too many side effects. And my question is, should they forget about that and put him on medication?
There's so many layers to that, isn't there, Susie? You know, it's hard to know. We're going to go to the break, and then we'll come back and answer the question. But, you know, so many times when we're looking to help someone in these situations, we look at all the possibilities, and then we eventually have to trust whoever is leading the charge. And that is the biggest step, I think, so many times, is how do we know that we're doing everything possible? And what have we not seen or heard of or tried that could maybe be the answer? We'll answer this when we get back. But if you want to call us 1-800-229-3000.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, August 15th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening I got relieved.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the Transformation Welcome Gift, which includes a personal-sized Life Recovery Bible, a Life Recovery Journal, and 5 Life Recovery Workbooks. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are still taking your calls, so give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. I probably have said that about 12 million times, but I'm going to say it more so that we can get help out to everybody who needs it. So give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. And I'm in with Jill and Alice, and we're answering questions today. And Susie's on the phone with us, and she's calling concerning her 13-year-old grandson. And Jill or Alice, do you want to start with just some clarification?
Susie, would you describe to us some of the deficits and difficulties that you see your grandson struggling with?
You know, I don't see him. When I see him, I don't see a lot of things that are going on. He seems pretty normal to me when I have him here and when I see him at his house. But I know that they have trouble getting him to go to school, and he does a lot of things. He's on the swim team and swimming, but then a couple of years ago he decided he didn't want to swim anymore. He starts things and wants to quit, and he just makes things very difficult for his mom and dad.
And Susie, of his parents, which is your child?
My son.
Your son. Mm-hmm. And just briefly, what's your relationship like with your son and your ability to give your concerns or your opinions to your son? How does he tend to take that from you?
I pretty well. When I first noticed that something was wrong was a long time ago, and boy, he didn't like it when we said something to him about it. But he was a little kid then, and we were just seeing things that we didn't think were really normal. Mm-hmm. But now that they've had him diagnosed and they know, and that's eased the pain a little, except it's such a horrible thing to have, because everything that I've read says it's only going to get worse.
Susie, hearing that they didn't take your concerns well initially tells me to be very cautious with your opinion about medication or your concern that their child should be medicated. If I were you, I'd get very curious first of how are things going, what treatment is working well. Do the doctors talk about medication? What do they say? And I know you've chosen not to medicate your son, and I want to understand it better. Just tell me about it. I would gather information first, find out why they've decided to do what they have done. And then after hearing that, if you still think that your opinion is really important to share, knowing that there might be some pushback from your son, I would ask permission. I have a thought, I have a concern, can I bring it to you? It's risky to ask permission because he might say no. And if he says no, I would respect that.
Right. Jill, do you have anything you want to add?
Susie, did you want to say something?
Well, I listened to the program the other day when Steve was on, and it was totally a different case.
Right.
But they did say something about how medication is going to help you. You need to forget about the side effects.
Well, right, but I think you have to evaluate that case by case, and there's lots of situations where it's warranted, right? I think people are always cautious when it comes to children, and some learning disorders are, it's been proven that it's really effective. But there are side effects, so there always is a downside. And I'm wondering if your son and daughter-in-law are trying to exhaust all other possibilities, because there's a lot of behavioral interventions and different types of therapies to help teach somebody who isn't, clued in to nonverbal cues and to some of the spatial awareness with people and things like that. There are ways to work with that. And, at the same time, I know parents get exhausted because with all the additional behavioral issues. And so I think coming alongside of them, I know that this is a challenging child. How can I best support you? How can I give you a break? Can I, help with some of the interventions? Can I help talk them through with you? What ways can I be a support to help you not feel so burdened and to help us all raise this child?
Right. Susie, it's so great as a grandparent myself. The best thing that you can do as you do what Alice and Jill have been talking about is to pray for him, to love him, to be a great advocate for both parents and your grandson, and know that it is difficult. But I think that's going to be a great way forward. I think we'll send you How We Love Our Kids, because I think that's a really great way to just understand the developmental process as well as we're raising kids. We have time for one more call, and we are going to go to Barbara, who is calling us from the Wava area again, WAVA's great station. Barbara, how can we help you? We got a little bit of time left, so we'll get your question in.
Okay. Mine is that I am realizing how I have kind of held myself back from really loving, and my grown children are telling me things that makes me want to run back into my shell. And I don't want to do that. And I realized, and I just heard you mention How We Love Our Kids. There really is a book, How We Love Our Kids.
Yes. We'll send it to you, Barbara.
Oh, my goodness, because I don't want to run back into my shell. And I have 4 grandchildren that I don't want to hold myself away from. And I want to really connect with my adult children who, from what they've said, we really haven't connected, not to a level that they can know and feel truly loved by me.
And Barbara,
I've done that.
Barbara, when they tell you these difficult things, are they giving you tough truth, do you believe, or are they being mean and unkind, and are they mistreating you with their words?
Well, my daughter, I feel my daughter they're both telling me truth, but it's the how that they tell it that hurts. I don't want to, I'm listening to everything they tell me, and I don't want to become thin-skinned and hurt and pull myself in a shell to be protective from them. But they're telling me the things that they're telling me when I stop and look back in my mind's eye, it's like, wow, I didn't realize that's how they saw it. And then the things you're telling me, I experienced. So it's like, it's layers, and it's mom was that way, I was that way, which I didn't realize, my children now, and I don't want it to continue.
Barbara, you're in a perfect position then, because you're humble and you're open. And so going to your children to say, I hear these things about myself and your experience, and I can see that now, and I want to understand how my actions affected you. It helps me to receive it from you when you keep a calm tone of voice with me, when you don't raise your voice, when you don't swear at me. Give them directions for how you can receive it, and set boundaries around anything that's toxic in their delivery. But encourage them to give you this truth gently.
And maybe you set aside a time that you prepare yourself to say, okay, I'm ready to listen. But you also let them know it's hard for me to hear, but I want to work on our relationship. I want to grow as a person.
So great. That's such great insight. And for anybody who's got family issues, but Barbara's doing the work and she's doing some recognition of her own growth. I actually think we need to send her How We Love and How We Love Our Kids, because she's learning about all the ways that we interact. It's been great interacting with you both today, and we're going to continue taking calls. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. You're going to have some more wisdom with these incredible women that we are all together, and we're going to help you. We appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.